everyone. Welcome to the Indian Chess Podcast with Mithil and Jagan.
Hi Jagan, how have you been?
Hey,
And
it's
what
been
is
great.
new
The
in
podcast
today's
has been
episode?
keeping me on my toes all days of the week. And we are very flattered with the response, the number of listeners and people, generally giving in their nice feedback and suggestions. So
Mhm.
this episode, uh, we wanted to introduce some new things. So we are having a kids segment, and we have a very esteemed guest on the show who will be the right person to advise on that. And also, we have our own Instagram handle and Gmail. So I'll just tell this right now, Indian Chess Podcast and Indian Chess Podcast at gmail.com. So any listeners wanting to share their comments, feedbacks, and even anybody wanting to participate in the show can write into us, right? Okay. Now, coming to this week, our next guest is a candidate master from Nasik, Vedant Pimpalkhare, who is a CM in chess with a IM norm under his belt. He's now rated 2282 on FIDE and is just 25 years old. And earlier, he had won the fourth prize at Under 20 Commonwealth Championships in 2017. He was also a joint winner of Sangli Open some years before this and a silver medal winner at the School Games Federation of India. Vedant has a blitz rating at on chess.com, which is the 3.3 plus 2 format, which is over 2700. And that has made him frequently play online games with the likes of Nakamura, Nigel Short, and even less, yes, Levi Rosman, okay, that is Gotham Chess, among others, in a pantheon of illustrious GMs he has played with. Vedant started at the age of 10, 11, and he had a potential career in not only chess, but cricket also. He was doing very well in it until he suffered an injury, and that made him turn towards chess in a full-time professional route. Vedant also has his own blog, and we are sharing the link under the description. And he used to do a multi-sports podcast during the last Olympics. He has been an avid reader, and he's also a coach. And he's now looking forward to his FM and IM titles with his steady progress. We welcome Vedant to the show.
Hello, guys. Thank you for having me on this show. I went through the first couple of podcasts that you had, and it's a great thing that you have brought into the Indian chess, I would say. This is
Thank
something
you.
chess was missing. So you filled the void, and good luck onto this new venture.
Thank you so much. We need
Uh,
that.
Thank you, Vedant. So, yeah, first of all, many congratulations on achieving the Candidates Master title. And can you tell us about your journey towards the Candidate Master title? And also, what is the requirement to get this title?
Thank you, Mithil. Well, for candidate masters, the minimum criteria is you have to cross the 2200 rating barrier, or otherwise you get it if you win the under 14s world championship or under 16 world or Asian, something like that. So there are two ways to get it. And for men's title, 2200 is the starting point for anyone. All the titles start from here. And to achieve this, I would say that I've been working for years now on chess. And as you guys know, that rating has been something which goes plus, minus, and sometimes we lose a lot of ratings in some tournaments. So we have to again work on it, cover it, and then increase it. So it's a process, I would say. It's a long process.
Okay. I had a question to you, Vedant. So you began at 11 years, okay? And so what was the chess scene around that time when you started? And I believe you started even cricket even before that,
Yes.
because you had a very good
So
career potential in both.
yeah. So I played cricket regularly. And then I was a sports fanatic out and out. So I wasn't sure what to do between those, 1 to 4 in the afternoon. because that's when the parents did not allow us to go out because of the heat and everything. So I wanted to be involved in some kind of a sport even during that period. So the only possible option that I felt was good enough was chess. So that's how I got introduced to it, as my mom used to play chess. So she introduced me to it, just the basics. And then I joined coaching at the age of 10 or something like that. But it wasn't as it is today, that even at the age of 10, players are like, they're literally professionally into chess. They work every day for 5 hours, 6 hours after school and everything. But back then it was just like, the weekend classes, the Saturdays and the Sundays. You go for 2 hours and that's it. And I wasn't very hesitant about it because my main focus was cricket back then. And but I started liking chess a lot as well. So I was a bit hesitant to drop chess and continue cricket altogether. So I was trying to manage both the things parallelly. And coming to the second question, back then the tournaments were, they were not that big as they are today, as like the price structure and everything. So we used to just play in the district tournaments because I was not knowing about the nationals and everything back then. So whenever I get a chance to play in the Sunday Rapids and everything that used to take place, I was quite happy with that. And as I turned 13, 14, that's when I realized that there's a thing called DSO, which is the schooling tournament which happens once a year. That's how I was introduced to the rest of the players from different parts of the state. Then I got to know that, okay, chess world is quite big and it's just not limited to our district or the city, I would say. And that's how it began. And my interest just got higher, better and better after that point.
Okay. One thing I wanted to ask you was, how did you decide to choose chess over cricket? What was that turning point? And I believe in the Indian cricket team, we have a famous example of Yuzvendra Chahal, who had been 1900 plus rated in chess, and he
Yeah,
came to cricket leaving chess. So you were the other way around. So that's an interesting
yeah,
observation.
something like that, something like
And
that.
to the
So
luck of
basically,
chess.
I was pursuing both the sports parallelly. I do not feel that I did it because I wanted to focus on the other sport or anything like that, because we need physical fitness in chess as well. So cricket was playing that role, I would say. The only reason why I chose chess over cricket was I had some injuries back in the period, which used to leave me out of the game for 2 months, 3 months on a roll, which made it very difficult for me to pursue cricket professionally. And by then, I was already doing pretty good in chess. Like I was winning some district tournaments. I had already played state, the DSO state, a couple of times. So I was like, okay, maybe I should switch the sports now and focus on chess, then on cricket. So I'm still playing cricket regularly. I'm playing some tournaments still regularly, but it's not professional anymore. It's just because for the love that I have for the game.
That's amazing. Metal, you had to say something.
Yeah. So Vedant is also into training. So Vedant, how did you become a chess trainer? And also, like as you are playing chess professionally, how much time do you devote in a week for coaching?
Okay, that's a very good question, I would say. So initially, I was a bit hesitant to get into coaching because there was a rumor out there which was if you get into coaching, your game standard goes down.
Hmm.
So I was a bit hesitant on getting into it, but I was like, okay, let's give it a try. Let's see whether it really works or is it just a rumor out there. And once I got into it, I was just devoting maybe an hour or two because I was like, okay, it should not affect my game if that's the truth. But even after that, I started playing tournaments and I was doing equally good or maybe even better. Because while teaching to beginners and even some advanced level players, what usually happens is even we revise some of the concepts that we have done like 5 or 10 years ago. So it's a revisit to such places where we explain some basic concepts and even we clear those concepts for ourselves again. It's not like we don't know it, but it's just a revisit to those places. And to your second question on how much time I devote to it, I would say I make sure that I don't completely get engaged into coaching because I'm still a professional player. So I limit my time to let's say 2 hours or 3 hours a day, sometimes four, but definitely not more than that because there is a point where I have to work for myself, I have to prepare as well. So I would say
Mhm.
not more than 4 hours a day.
One
Okay.
related question that's coming up. What is your
Mhm.
training regimen like? When do you start in the morning, or which part of the day is most effective for you?
Okay, so whenever I wake up, I make sure that I immediately work on some tactics just to train my brain right in the morning. And after that, it depends on what I have chalked for that specific day. Like sometimes it's about revising a certain opening, it's about creating a repertoire. Sometimes I have to just go through some basic end games that I have to make sure that I don't lose or I know how to draw a certain end game. So these are the areas that I work on. Apart from that, I devote a certain day to just playing, I would say, where I play different types of formats just to see how am I doing. So it's basically I work on certain areas, then I make sure that I implement the things that I've worked via playing online on different platforms. And then I again work on the areas where, if I've missed something while playing, I analyze it and I make sure that I feel the holes and don't leave anything behind so that my opponent can get the opportunity to get at me in one way or the other.
Right, that's so interesting to learn from you. Okay, now we come to a new segment we had been discussing about. It's the kids segment. Kids, when I say kids, without any, uh, wrong, wrong. What do you say? Indication. I'd like to say that kids refer to the kids, the people who are just at the beginner level, and more of the younger age kids, typically. Okay, so the kids segment. The first question is, what is your experience of working with kids in who've been learning chess, and what is your what have you observing over the years, and what is the right age to get into the game?
Okay, so as we all know that recently we have got all the grandmasters and everyone who are like became grandmaster age of 12, 13, 14 and so on. So taking consider into consideration that trend, the earlier you get into chess, the better it is, I would say. But it's also important to know that child has an interest in the sport and not just because your friend's child got into chess, that means even you have to get into chess. If your child loves it, you can do it. But I would say that as I remember reading it somewhere that in Armenia, it's a compulsory subject just like any other, like maths, English, and science, as it's a national sport for Armenia as well. So they have made sure that chess is also a part of the curriculum. And similar things have been happening in India in the recent times as well, which is a great thing because chess in the larger picture has its own benefits, I would say, like your attention, your concentration, thinking out of the box. All these factors are helped with the help of chess. So even if you're hesitant to take chess professionally, just in order to improve on this concepts of critical thinking, thinking out of the box, your attention of the child can improve if is into chess, your patience can improve. So these are the things that will help if your child is introduced to chess.
What time control should beginners, do in their training and practice games, and up to 1800 below online rating folks? I'm talking for them. What would you
Okay,
suggest?
so I'll say that rapid time or a classical one will be perfect suit for them. Most of the young children, what happens is they look at the streamers and everyone playing the shorter time format, and it's very entertaining. I love it myself as well. I'm not saying that you shouldn't play it at all, But if you are in the improving stage, I would say that the rapid time format will be the best. It gives you maximum chance to think over a certain move and take decisions accordingly. While in Blitz, you have to be more intuitive. But the problem is you only become intuitive when you have, like, 10,000, 20,000 games under your sleeve. That's when you become intuitive. Without prior knowledge, you cannot become intuitive. So choosing, rapid format will be the best thing for any upcoming player, I would say.
Right. And Vedant, for the benefit of listeners, we'll clarify that rapid refers to 15 plus 10 to anything like probably 10 plus 5 or 10 plus
Yeah, yeah.
something
Even
like
sometimes 25 minutes plus 2 seconds, 25 minutes plus 5 seconds, one or two games a day, one from each side, will be
that.
a perfect
Why
fit, I
10?
would say. But it's just not about playing. You can play this game and still you will be at the same level all the years. It's more
Okay.
about analyzing the games once you have played it.
Right. That's key. Uh, there's one important question on this regard. What are your suggestions to parents who want to put their kids in chess uh, and they also sometimes have that comparison between chess and other activities and that whether my kid is going to do well in something or not. There's some kind of pressure. So how do you uh, advise them to deal with these decisions?
Well, I would say that chess is complementary to literally any aspect that you chose to do in life. So even if you are into finance, chess is good. Even if you are into some other studies or anything, chess is good for you. If you are into any other sport, chess is good for you. So chess is literally a supplement to everything that you can be a part of in life. And for parents specifically, I would say that don't go for the awards, don't go for the glories. It's just not about that. It's about what your pupil learns from a certain tournament. Because what usually is happening and what I've seen recent year is if your child wins a under 14 prize, they are over the cloud nine. The parents are celebrating and everything. But unfortunately, if it doesn't do in one tournament or two tournament, it's okay. But it's like it's not great to be harsh on the child or why is he not performing good or anything like that. As long as he is enjoying the game, that's what really matters the most. And what I can tell from my own experience is that you should stop playing into a category that you are continuously winning.
Okay, right,
So if you have won under 12 or 14 5 or 7 times, that tournament is not for you.
right.
You can win 20 more from it, but you won't learn a thing after that. So
Yes.
even parents should know what is the right time to take your child out of that category and put him into a category where winning one round is also a task.
You seek
So he
fresh
will learn,
challenges and higher levels.
yes, yes. So he will learn much more in, losing all 6 games than winning all 6.
That's a great point you made because many kids are unable to deal with the pain of a loss, and that's not only for the kids, for every age.
Yeah.
So that is
It's
something
okay
you
to lose because it's just a result. It's one of the 3 results, I would say.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So, yeah. So, Vedant, you have been playing a lot of big events. Also, you have played in foreign circuits. So, my question is, how do you prepare for such big tournaments? And also, like during such tournaments, there is a lot of pressure. So, how do you unwind during these tournaments? Any tips for the players who are going to play any foreign circuit?
So the most important thing when you're planning a foreign circuit is the tournament selection, I would say. So it depends on your strength, it depends on your stamina, on how long can you sustain in a foreign land. So usually 3 to 4 tournaments on a roll should be fine for any player, any good chess player, I would say. And we have to plan for this tournament well beforehand because it involves a lot of tedious tasks as planning, booking an apartment in the foreign country, to look for visas beforehand, and all the arrangements that you make over there, right? From carrying Indian food and everything is also very important as there is the issue of having the food in the foreign countries.
Mm.
So preparing all these things along with playing is a very important thing. And once you are in that country, once you have decided to play, you really need to be thoroughly prepared, I would say, for such a big event, because mostly you're going to play roughly around 30 rounds there, even if we decide to play 3 tournaments. So to play 30 rounds, to survive it, to sustain it is a challenging task. So thorough preparation, you should be, not only built mentally, but physically as well, because the stamina that you will require for such a long event is immense. So regular workout, I would say, and I'm saying this, that the things that you should do before going to the designated country, and what to do after you have gone there is something that I will explain over the answer. So these are the things that you have to work on before you reach that country. And once you have reached there, once the tournament begins, the preparation that I personally do is going through all my opponent's games from both sides, more importantly, from white as well as black, to just get an idea of what my opponent's style is, what are the positions that he prefers, what are the openings that he prefers, the positions that he doesn't like, the time controls that he doesn't like. And all these factors are just a basic thing that we take into consideration. And after the rounds, I usually make sure that I don't think about the game that I've just played, and I more or less try to focus onto the next round, because it's already done. I can't change it. So I prefer to maybe just read something, just listen to a song, watch a skit, watch a stand up, anything that is not related to chess for the next couple of hours. Because again, the next day, you are again going to get into the same zone. You have to start preparing again. So it's better to just give away chess for a couple of hours, keep yourself busy in music or podcast or movie, anything that you like, for a limited amount of time, and then get back to chess when you're fully fresh and you can think in a clear way.
Yeah. So I have like traveled with Vedant. Even I was lucky to be a roommate during a tournament.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's great.
so yeah, I remember it was like 4 or 5 years back, and Vedant came in as a replacement for some other player. Like that player backed out, and Vedant was willing to play, so he came. And yeah, so I have this habit like during tournaments, like I'll wake up in the morning and when I'm preparing or I'm going through my opening lines or through my opponent's games or something, whatever my preparation is there. So I like to, listen to songs and I play it loudly. So so Vedant was in the same room and I used to do this all day. And in the beginning, Vedant was very irritated. I remember, and at the I think in the end, last day of the tournament when we were traveling back to catch our train. So Vedant was like, "Hey Mithil, can you just share that song? It like I have heard it so many times now that I cannot get it out of my head." So this is
So
something which
just
I
to add
remember.
on the same note, I would say that the reason why I was a bit hesitant to listen to those songs in the initial stage was because he used to play it right before the rounds, like 2 or 3 hours before it, I would say. And whenever I used to go to a game, the same song used to come in my head repeatedly. And the moment I'm about to think, that space with that song is something that I used to imagine all the time, and I just couldn't think. But over the period, I got used to it and I was like, okay, never mind. As long as the results are coming, the song and everything is not a problem.
Yeah, and it was a great tournament. I think I remember you drew with I think CRG Krishna, I guess, if
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
wrong. Yeah, and he
Just
managed to
lost
get a
one game in the entire tournament. So I was quite
yeah. Even I think yeah, Vedant helped me during like the preparation for 2 to 3 games. He helped me a lot, and yeah, even I finished on a good note. I won a prize, cash prize. I think yeah. Last round I defeated some 2000 rated player. I remember that. Yeah,
That's great to know, Mithil. Vedant, I also
yeah.
wanted you to tell us a little bit more about that first tour of Serbia, if I remember correctly, which is given in your blog, part one. And that was such a nice story to read. I mean, as usual, your flight, I mean, came on the second, on the day of the tournament, you landed 20 minutes before you were at the venue, and you beat a grandmaster 300 points above, and you went unbeaten in
something
the
like
whole
that.
tournament. Ah, that was amazing.
Well, I was excited to be able to play in a foreign event in the first place, as it was my first tour outside of India. But the tour itself wasn't that easy. It wasn't a walk in the park, I would say, as I'd imagined. The moment we reached Dubai, I guess, from where we had the connecting flight, we got to know that we had missed our flight because there was some delay in catching the first flight. So fortunately, what we had done was we had booked from the same airlines. So the connecting flight and the flight which we took to Dubai was from the same airlines. So got to stay in Dubai for the next 24 hours. So we were next day again, which was the same day as of the first round. So we were a bit hesitant on what is exactly going to happen. Are we even going to make it before the round or not? Because we had to reach Belgrade, and from Belgrade, that was a 3 hour drive to the place called Silver Lake, Veliko Gradis. And we had no SIM card, we had no internet. So I had no clue whether the ping is out, which player I'm going to face, because I was traveling back then. So I was like, okay, just never mind. I have worked a little bit before coming there, and let's see, whatever happens, happens. So I reached the Silver Lake. I just dropped my bags at my place, from where it was just a 5 minute walk to the tournament venue. I go there, I check at the pairings, I realize that I'm playing a 2380 guy. I was rated 2000 something back then. So I was like, okay, just play natural chess, don't focus on the rating too much. Even he's a player, even he doesn't know much about me, as it's my first tour outside. So just go all out. But the only thing that I kept in mind was I avoided any kind of a opening preparation in the first. I've already mentioned it in my blog as well, because I wasn't sure what he has prepared and what he has not. So the best thing to do is avoid all kinds of a line, just play natural chess and let the better player win on that day. So I did that, I won it, and after that, it was one of the finest tournaments of my life, where I went unbeaten and for the norm as well. But for some unfortunate reasons, some technical reasons, it was not given. But indeed, I'm not complaining about it, as I was in the rating perspective, the experience perspective. What I learned in general was much more than the norm, I would say.
Right. You're taking it so much in the right way, Vedant. We must appreciate your candor and your temperament on that. It's something amazing we can learn from. Also, you've made a mention of the way the kids need to take the defeats and everything in their stride and everything. So, okay. Now coming to the next question here, we have what are the best training methods to choose for amateur levels and for those below above 2000?
For above 2000 and for below 2000 is
Below
your
2000,
question,
we'll
right?
keep that as an amateur category.
Okay. So what I'll suggest and what I'm doing with all my students as well is that I make sure that they solve tactics every day. So when you're solving tactics, I mean 7 days of the week. There's no Sunday off here. This is not, so you don't get the weekends off here. You have to work 7 days a week. You have to solve a certain amount of puzzles, let's say 50 puzzles a day, 70 puzzles a day, 100 puzzles a day, according to your strength, according to the time that you can devote to chess. But it should be done on a daily basis, and not, you don't do anything for the first 5 days and then solve 300 puzzles on the weekend. That is not going to help you. At the end, the number will be the same. If you solve 50 puzzles a day for 7 days, it's 350 puzzles a week. And you solve 300 puzzles over the weekend, it's one and the same thing. But it's not about working on just weekends. It's about working every day, putting in efforts every day. So puzzle solving is something that I put my maximum focus on. and that I want the players to do as well. Along with that, you should go through the online games, the online tournaments that are happening on a daily basis. You get to know some good ideas, good opening plans, because every top player is experimenting a different move here and there. This will definitely help you if you have thorough knowledge of what is happening in the chess world. And I would like to add that even if they listen to this podcast, not just my podcast, but the entire series of podcasts, this will help them a lot to improve, I would say. So this is something that they can definitely do. And playing, as I already mentioned, rapid games, maybe 2 games a day, 4 games a day, whatever time permits you have. Rapid games and not blitz. You can treat yourself with blitz on the weekends if you have followed the routine for the first 5 or 6 days. So you can just treat yourself with some blitz tests.
Okay. So those are great tips for kids to prepare, and thank you so much, Vedant, for sharing them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Vedant, you have defeated many titled players. So what is the secret of winning against tougher opponents at the highest level?
Well, I would say that there's always a first time for everything. And when I defeated or when I drew against my first international master, I still remember it. I was maybe in ninth or 10th, somewhere there, and I drew with international master from Tamil Nadu in a Mangalore tournament. And I was over cloud nine that time as it was my first draw against an international master. And that draw definitely gave me some confidence that, okay, if I can do it once, I can do it multiple times again. So you have to do it at least once. And for doing that, what I would say is you should have thorough belief in yourself, because even your opponent is just a human, even he can go wrong. Just because he's higher rated than you doesn't mean that he's perfect. There are areas where even he can go wrong, even he could have a bad day, even he could enter a position that he doesn't like to be in, and on the contrary, it's your favorite position to be in. So that are the areas which you can work on and improve and try to come, one title player at a time. You do it once,
Right.
you have the capability to do it again and again. But, and I would just like to add one more point over here is you should have the guts to say no to a higher rated player than you. Sometimes what happens is you have a better position. Obviously, your opponent knows that because he's a higher ranked player than you. And at such point, even if he offers a draw, the idea that come to our mind is, what if I lose after this? At least I had a draw against a title player. That would have been a better result. So shall I accept it or shall I continue it? And most players accept it even if they have a better position, including me. I'm not leaving myself out of it. I've been a part of this where I had a better position, but just for the sake of making a draw against a title player, I took it. Nowadays, that thing doesn't happen much, but initially it did. But I think you should know when to say no to a draw and believe in yourself, continue the game, and get the one full point in the bag.
Yeah. So I think it is like a, you can say, a mental block. Like after once you drew or win against a title player, then I think you are very confident against title players. Like,
Exactly. And just to add one thing, like beating a title player online sometimes can also help you a lot,
hmm,
because the pressure while playing online is much less as compared to that of playing over the board. No one's watching you, no one cares for the result. But that one win against an international master when you're playing online, that win against a grandmaster if you're playing online, can give you a lot of boost, I would say, which will help you to, take better decisions when you are playing over the board.
right.
Right. Your confidence level goes to a very high level.
Exactly, exactly.
So I would like to tell our listeners that Vedant has played in the Catalan circuit in July, and he scored an IM norm in one of those tournaments. So Vedant, can you tell us more about it?
Yes, sure. So I'd gone for multiple tournaments this year, which is called as the Catalan circuit, as you rightly mentioned. So I had pretty good performances in all the five tournaments that I had played. And I was very close to scoring the norms in the first three tournaments as well. And I had met all the criterias and everything, just the performance was something that lacked, where I performed at 2350 and the requirement was 2450 and something like that. But the rest, all the criterias were met. And then we were playing the Sands tournament, which was the biggest out of all the tournaments that I have played in that specific circuit. So where I was rated like seeded around 100 plus something like that, even after being 21, 40, 44 something at that point. And still my rating was, the seeding was above 100. So I was quite happy with that fact. And as it was the last tournament of the circuit, I wanted to finish the circuit on a higher note. So I just kept on doing what I was doing for the first four tournaments. And fortunately, I was able to score my first norm there, and which as I said was one of the best performances as well. So I scored a 9 round norm in that tournament. So I scored it with a round to spare. So no matter what the result I had in the 10th round, I had already scored the norm. And from the first 9 games, I had just lost one, and that too was against Indian international master Hari Krishna ARA from Tamil Nadu. So that was the only loss that I had. And I played around almost 8 title players in the 10 rounds. So I had some good results against the FIDE Masters, the IMs as well. And I met all the criterias. The only thing was if I would have won the last round, I would have scored a 10 round norm. So as you know, there are different round norms in chess. There's 11 round norm, 13 round norm, which is only in the Indian National Championship, which is going to take place in December this year. And there are 9 round norms as well. So I scored the 9 round norm here.
Oh, great. So, as everyone knows that Carlson and Hans Niemann cheating controversy, so it is going on in the news for a lot of days. So, can you say that cheating allegations have been there recently, or it was also there earlier?
So cheating is something that is the only bad thing that is happening to chess, I would say, because apart from that, chess is close to perfection. So if we take away, and every sport has one or the other thing, so we should not look at it in disgust, but it's part and parcel of the game. So cheating has been in chess for quite some time, I would say. So don't quote me on this, but there was a quite a big incident in the Karpov Korchnoi Kasparov era, where I guess Karpov and Korchnoi were playing against each other. And back then, there wasn't the team of seconds and everything that we have now, or the facilities that we have now, where all the food requirements and everything is met in the playing hall itself. So the seconds used to provide the player with whatever the player needs. So as I was mentioning that in the 1978, I guess Karpo-Korchnoi match, there was an incident where it was a speculation that the seconds are helping Karpov in one way or the other. And what came out turned out to be quite a funny incident, I would say. That don't quote me on this though. That the seconds used to provide with some kind of a curd to Karpov, which he liked to eat a lot, and
Yogurt.
the color of the container would define the situation on the position, is what Korchnoi had to say. So for example, if it's a red card, that means Karpov's position is in danger. If it's a yellow card, that means it's a equal position. If you want, you can continue or offer a draw, something like that. And if it's a green card, that means your position is great. All you have to do is find the good moves and finish off the game and something like that, which I totally feel is absolute nonsense. But Karpov wouldn't need any kind of a help from any of his seconds. But it has been, the cheating thing has been in chess for quite some time, I would say.
Yeah.
Vedant, we've been seeing a lot of tournaments, rated tournaments happening around the Indian subcontinent. Here, especially in Mumbai, for example, we have four rated tournaments happening this month itself, December 2022. And so, in this scenario, how does a person, a player, wishing to improve himself on his ratings and everything, how does he go about?
Well, as you mentioned, there are 3 to 4 tournaments happening. So, firstly, I would say that if even if you get to play 2 or 3 tournaments in the same city, there's nothing like it. More importantly, if it's so close by, then that's the best thing that can happen to any chess player. Instead of traveling all the way from one part to the other, if you get to play in the same city that you live in, there's nothing like it. I wouldn't recommend to play all the 4 tournaments as it can take a toll on your game. You wouldn't realize it during the second tournament or the first tournament, but by the time you are into the third tournament or the fourth tournament, I would say that's when the stress, the problem, the ability to think less in crucial scenarios will start kicking in, and after which it will be a huge task to continue, I would say.
Right. Mithil, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, so I would like to ask which tournaments you are planning to play in 2023.
Well, I'm looking forward to the Indian circuit that is happening, that is going to start from, I guess, December. So the national is going to take place in December, and then the rest of the events are going to start from the next year. There's a good Delhi GM coming up. Then there's another one, I guess it's Indore GM, though I'm not sure about whether it's happening or not, but still they have mentioned it over the calendar. And in Feb, I don't think there's much tournaments coming up. So a couple of Grandmaster events is something that I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Vedant, you've been an avid reader of not only chess, but so many other sports. So we want you to give the
Yeah.
shortlist of 5 best sports casual reads.
Well, the I can tell from the ones that I've read and that I've learned from. So the number one goes for the book named Open, which is a
Legacy.
book by Andrea Agassi. Exactly. So that is something that I enjoyed reading a lot. And just to tell one point from it is, which I could relate to chess, is something like even he went for perfection. Like he wanted to play every shot perfectly. No matter where the ball was, he should be in the right place every single time to hit it over. And in the best possible way is what he told. But the thing that he realized that he did not need to play perfect game all the time. All he had to do was return the ball. So even if it's at the cost of playing some good shots, some average shots, it's okay. So similar thing is applicable in chess as well, which I could correlate very easily. That every time you should not go for excellence, every time you should not look for finding the perfect move in every position. Sometimes you just have to play a good move and pass the ball. Let's see what your opponent does. There are 5 good moves in a position, and if you try and figure out which is the best one out of the 5, it will just take your time and you will run out of it pretty quickly. So instead of doing it, I would say even if a good move you can play, sustain the position, continue the position in a good way, there's nothing like it.
Point
The,
taken. What
the
would be your
second,
second?
yeah, the second one that I enjoyed reading was, I guess, the autobiography of Yuvraj Singh. The grit, the determination that he came after he was diagnosed with cancer, as everyone knew right after the 2011 World Cup. But the grit, the determination that he had to continue even after such a serious illness is a inspiration not only to the cricketers but to every sport player out there. We face challenges every now and then, but we definitely do not face anything like cancer. So our challenges are nothing next to as compared to Yuvraj Singh. And still he managed to outplay it, outrun it, and managed to come over it and still continue cricket. So, and the story that he has shared right from his childhood all the way till he made into the Indian cricket team is something that is very special. The third one that I really enjoy reading is the Kobe Bryant's uh, autobiography. I don't remember its name. I guess it's Mamba Mentality or something like that. But even that guy is a absolute legend, I would say. Like he's one of the big fives up there in all sports. The hard work that he has shown, the determination, the grit to become successful, to be the best in the world, and the things that he had to do, the things that he had to sacrifice in order to be the best is something that you can surely learn from that book. Then there's another good read called Rafa. I'm sure most of the players, the tennis fans out there must have already read about it. And he's my favorite tennis player, so it was must for me to read about him. I won't speak much about it. I'll suggest that you just read and enjoy the story. And the last but not the least, I would say, is Playing It My Way by Sachin Tendulkar, which is these five are my favorite reads, I would say. I can reread it anytime. I can pick any chapter, just read about it, and I'm sure that I'll learn something new that I haven't learned before.
Okay, thank you so much for illuminating us on that, on your favorite reads. Okay, now we come to the rapid fire section. Well, Vedant, are you
That's
ready for
great.
it?
Absolutely. Bring it on.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you two options. You do not have to describe much. You just have to say,
Okay.
if the question is unclear, you can ask me, of course. Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll just give a one or two
One or two.
choice, and
Okay,
then we
get
go to
it.
the next. Okay. Right. So here we begin. Right. OTB or online chess?
OTB.
Chess or cricket?
That's a tough one, but I have to choose chess now.
Okay. Individual or team events?
If I have chose chess before, then I have to stick to the individual event.
Oh, like
I
there is
can't
an
contradict.
Olympiad kind of event or a team championship like Vedant had played for Maharashtra.
Oh, okay, okay. So I would say that is interesting as well, but still I'll stick to the individual part.
Individual. Okay, here comes your favorite piece, bishop or knight. I mean, among the two, that is. Between the two, which do you
Okay.
prefer to have on the board?
Knight. Knight.
Oh,
I'll
you
go
are a
for
knight
knight.
man. That's great.
Yeah.
Most people are known to, go for a bishop as the choice in the end game.
No,
Okay,
no.
right. Okay, next one. Are you a tactical or positional player?
I used to consider myself as a tactical, but my recent games have been positional, so I'll pick positional here.
Okay, who's going to be the next world champion? Ding Liren or Jan Nepomniachtchi?
I think it's going to be the English.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, next we're going to ask you another question. Classical or rapid tourney? Would you like to play a classical tournament or a rapid? Not blitz, rapid.
Or Blitz.
Or blitz.
Then I'll definitely choose Blitz.
Okay, and any reasons?
I'm a big Blitz fan. Like I love the
OTB.
energy that we have. Yeah, OTB Blitz.
Okay.
If I get to play some tournaments, I'll definitely be a part of it.
Okay. Next one is the one Mithil wanted me.
Okay.
Who may be right?
I'm afraid for this one.
Who
I'm afraid
may
for
be
this
right?
one though.
Magnus Carlsen or Hans Niemann?
Don't put me on the spot here, Mithil. that is very tricky of you. But if it's my opinion, just I'll still choose Magnus side. I'm Team Magnus here.
Okay, we take it. Next, the World Cup going on, Football World Cup. Ronaldo
Yeah.
or Messi?
Ronaldo, any day, every day of the year.
Okay. Very interesting. And finally, we come to
Rooting
one
for
question.
Portugal.
Okay.
Out and out rooting for Portugal.
Yeah, yes. Okay, and finally, we come to one about the cuisine part of it. Okay, vada pav or misal pav?
Misal pav.
I'm with you on
I'm a
that.
Nasikkar. I have to be a misal pav. And there are people
Right.
who get to travel from Mumbai to Nasik just to eat misal too. So I would say that misal pav has to be the answer.
Yeah, I
Right.
remember I traveled like I with my cousins. We had no plan, so my cousin was like, "Let's go and eat missiles." So I was like, "Where?" So I was like, "Let's go to Nasik." And I remember I called Vedant that I'm coming to Nasik. So we went there. We had missile and we just came back.
Guys, you're in really big league, I must say.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Mithil will take the closing remarks.
Uh, Yeah. So thank you, Vedant, for giving your time. I really appreciate giving your time. I really appreciate it. And we wish you all the best for your future tournaments. Also for your next titles. I hope you will be a IM soon.
Yeah.
And
We wish
then
you the very
again we
best
can
on that front.
invite you to our show.
Vedant.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me here. It was an absolute pleasure to be a part of your good podcast. And I hope that you continue with the series and bring on some more interesting guests so that we get to hear their stories as well. So kudos
Right.
to that on that one. And I hope I complete the remaining requirements for the title soon.
Yes.
And I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to have a talk with you guys again after I've done the title requirement.
We will be following you on your blog and
Yes.
seeing your progress and wishing you the very best again.
Thank you so much, guys.
Okay. So with this,
Okay.
we come to an end with this episode. You can follow us on Instagram. Our ID is Indian Chess Podcast, and also you can write to us on our email, which is Indian Chess Podcast at gmail.com.